Ziardillerim, Itek Mening Alaric Istedin Ezekiel, the haunting of room 214. A couple, Mark and Emma, were looking for a quiet escape from the busy world, and they found the perfect place, the Blackwood Inn, located deep in the woods. It was a rustic, secluded hotel, perfect for a weekend getaway. The ivy-covered stone building seemed to have a charm that pulled them in, its walls telling stories of years gone by. The couple was warmly greeted by the elderly innkeeper, who smiled a little too widely and ushered them in. There was something odd about his smile, but they thought nothing of it, eager to begin their peaceful retreat. Room 214 was at the farthest end of the hall, a part of the hotel that seemed forgotten by time. The moment they stepped inside, Mark and Emma felt a strange chill in the air. The room was old-fashioned but cozy, with a large four-poster bed, antique furniture, and a cracked mirror hanging on the wall. The air in the room was thick, as though it hadn't been aired in years, but they shrugged it off as part of the hotel's charm. After all, it was a place with a rich history. As the night wore on, the couple settled into bed, but something felt off. Emma, tired from the day's journey, drifted off to sleep quickly, but Mark tossed and turned. Around midnight, he woke to the soft sound of creaking floorboards. He looked around the room, but Emma was still fast asleep beside him. Mark's heart started to race. He glanced at the door, wondering if they had left it slightly ajar, but it was tightly shut. The noise stopped as abruptly as it had started, and Mark decided to dismiss it as his imagination playing tricks on him. He turned over and tried to fall back to sleep, but something kept him awake, a nagging sense that they were not alone. In the early hours of the morning, Emma woke up to a strange whispering sound. At first, she thought it was the wind blowing through the cracks in the window, but the whispers were too distinct. They seemed to be coming from the walls themselves. She sat up in bed, straining to hear, but the voices faded into nothingness as quickly as they had appeared. She nervously laughed it off, blaming it on her tired mind. The next day, both of them tried to forget the strange occurrences. They had breakfast in the quiet dining room, but when they looked around, they noticed something was off, but the exact details of her death were never clear. Some said she had taken her own life. Others whispered that she was murdered by an unknown person. What was certain was that her spirit never left, roaming the room and the halls, trapped in a state of perpetual suffering. Emma, feeling the hairs on the back of her neck stand up, asked what had happened to the woman. The innkeeper grew more somber, and with a faraway look in his eyes, he said the woman's name had been Alice. She had been a regular guest at the hotel, visiting every year until one night she vanished. The last time anyone had seen her was in room 214, just before she disappeared without a trace. The innkeeper's voice dropped to a whisper as he continued. If you stay in room 214, you might hear her calling to you. But if you answer, you'll never leave. The couple exchanged uneasy glances. They had heard enough and decided to leave, but as they turned to pack their things, the door to room 214 slammed shut with a deafening bang. The room suddenly grew cold, and the lights flickered. A voice whispered through the room, so faint, at first, that they almost missed it. Leave now, before it's too late. They bolted from the room, grabbing their things, but as they reached the door, the hallway outside had vanished. Instead, they were surrounded by blackness, the air thick with an unnatural chill. They realized they weren't in the hotel anymore. They were in the room with Alice, forever trapped in the never-ending nightmare. The Blackwood Inn, like room 214, was cursed to keep its guests forever.